All right, Lakers fans, let's sit down and really talk about this situation with Dalton Connect, because things are getting interesting in Los Angeles. The conversation around him has been heating up ever since those trade rumors started swirling, and it's starting to feel like history repeating itself. We've seen this before. A young player gets tossed around in trade talks, confidence takes a hit, and then everyone starts wondering whether he's still part of the team's future or just an asset waiting to be moved. The thing is, Dalton doesn't have the same kind of leverage other stars have had in the past. When a player like Lamar Odom was put through that same roller coaster, being traded, then having the trade vetoed, he at least had the clout to say, "You wanted to move me? Fine, I'm out." Dalton doesn't have that card to play. He has to keep his head down, stay focused, and try to play through it while knowing the front office might still be planning to ship him out the moment his value rises. And that's the tough part, because it's not like Dalton is some throwaway player. He's talented. He's got the tools. But when a team makes it clear that you're on the block, that changes the way you approach the game. You're not just playing for your spot anymore. You're playing for your next destination. And that's where things get complicated. Let's be honest. Unless Dalton absolutely explodes this season, unless he becomes that rare two-way wing that every contender is desperate for, the Lakers will probably move him. If he suddenly turns into a 20-point-per-night guy who locks in defensively, sure, maybe he sticks. But if not, the front office is going to see him as trade capital, plain and simple. Now, I know some fans don't like to hear that, but you've got to look at it from the team's perspective. They're in win-now mode. LeBron's still here, Anthony Davis is still here, and every season feels like a countdown to that next big title run. The Lakers can't afford to wait for development projects. If Dalton catches fire for a few games, that might not save him. It might just make him easier to trade. And honestly, that's what sucks about this situation. You can see the kid's effort. You can see the flashes. He's got that self-creation ability that's rare for young shooters. He's not just a catch-and-shoot guy. He can get to the mid-range. He can finish at the rim. He can score at all three levels. But will he ever get the chance to really show that next to guys like LeBron, Austin Reeves, and D'Angelo Russell? Probably not. Because in this system, Dalton's role is pretty defined. Spot up in the corner, be ready for the kick out, knock down threes, and try not to get hunted on defense. That's it. And that's where the frustration comes in. He's got more in his bag, but the Lakers' rotation doesn't exactly allow for experimentation. Even if LeBron or Rui Hakim you're a miss time, he's still probably the fourth or fifth option when everyone's healthy. And that's not a role where you get to prove much. For him to really fit long-term, he'd have to take a massive leap defensively. He'd need to be the kind of guy you can trust to switch onto wings and guards without getting burned. And that's been the issue so far. Let's not sugarcoat it. His defense hasn't been good. There's no way around that. During the preseason, opposing teams were going out of their way to attack him. They were calling switches just to get him isolated, and once that happened, it was free buckets. We saw it against the Spurs. They hunted him every possession, and it's not like they were picking on him by accident. They knew exactly what they were doing. That's a problem, because if teams are already seeing you as the weak link in exhibition games, imagine what happens in a 7-game playoff series. You become unplayable. But to be fair, it's not all doom and gloom. That Warriors game the other night was a glimpse of what he could be if he just puts it together. He wasn't perfect, but for the first time in a while, he looked locked in on both ends. He stayed in front of his man. He hustled on closeouts. He didn't look lost defensively. You could tell he made an effort to be engaged, to move his feet, to rotate properly. That's what you want to see. He finished with 16 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, and shot around 40% from deep. More importantly, he was a +6 on the court, and it wasn't just because he hit shots. It was because he didn't give those points back on the other end. That's the version of Dalton Connect that could survive in the Lakers rotation. Now, nobody's expecting him to suddenly turn into Jared Vanderbilt defensively. That's not realistic. But he needs to be good enough to not get picked on. He needs to show he's willing to fight, to contest, to make guys work for every bucket. Because right now, his biggest issue is that when his shots aren't falling, he doesn't impact the game anywhere else. He becomes invisible. And in a team as deep as the Lakers, being invisible means losing your spot fast. J.J. Redick even mentioned it. The coaching staff tracks everything in practice. Every stat, every efficiency number, every defensive possession. And according to JJ, Dalton has been one of the best offensive players in camp. He's shooting around 60%, putting up big numbers in scrimmages, and looking confident with the ball. So offensively, he's doing what they ask. But Redick made it clear, Dalton's minutes will depend on his defense. It's that simple. The scoring is great, but if you can't defend, you're not staying on the floor. And here's the silver lining. He's going to get chances early in the season. With LeBron sitting out for stretches and the coaching staff still figuring out the rotation, Dalton will have time to prove himself. He's going to get minutes. He's going to have the ball in his hands at times. What he does with those opportunities will determine everything. Because if he can show that he's at least serviceable defensively while still bringing that shooting gravity, the Lakers might start to see him differently. But if not, the writing's on the wall. The front office isn't sentimental. If he goes off for a few big games, that doesn't mean he's safe. It might just mean his trade value spikes. You know how this team operates. They're always looking for that next big move. They'd rather sell high than wait for a slump. So even if Dalton starts turning heads, that could actually speed up his exit. It's a cruel cycle, but that's the reality of the NBA when you're trying to win championships. Still, I can't help but root for the guy. He's handled everything with maturity. He hasn't complained, hasn't thrown anyone under the bus, hasn't pouted. He's kept working. And for a young player, that matters. You can tell he wants to make it work in LA. You can see it in the effort, in the way he's trying to fix the things people criticize. And that's why this situation stings. Because every Lakers fan loves a comeback story. We love seeing the kid who was written off suddenly become an essential piece. And if Dalton can put it all together, if he can start defending just well enough to stay on the court, maybe that's exactly what we'll get. But man, it's a thin line. One cold streak, one bad defensive stretch, and the narrative flips again. That's the kind of pressure he's under right now. The Lakers have a championship window, and every minute matters. He's got to prove that he belongs in that mix. Because when you're playing next to LeBron and AD, effort isn't enough. You got to produce, and you got to hold your own. Dalton knows that. You can see it in his body language. He's fighting for his spot, but he's also fighting the perception that he's expendable. And that's a tough battle for any young player trying to find his place on a contender. What makes this whole Dalton Connect situation even more intriguing is how divided the fan base has become about him. On one side, you have people saying he's a future star in the making, that his offensive talent is too special to give up on. On the other, there are fans and even analysts saying he's too much of a defensive liability, that the Lakers can't afford to wait for him to figure it out. And honestly, both sides have a point. Dalton's skill set screams potential. The kind of player who, on another team with a longer leash, could blossom into a 20 points per game scorer. But on the Lakers, with their championship expectations and constant microscope, time isn't a luxury. You have to prove your worth now or risk being packaged for someone who can help immediately. There's this constant push and pull between development and contention, and Dalton is right in the middle of it. He's not a rookie anymore, so the give-him-time argument is wearing thin. At the same time, it's hard to expect major defensive growth when he's not getting consistent minutes. You can't become a better defender if you're sitting on the bench watching. What's interesting, though, is that when he does get the chance, there are glimpses, like that Warriors game or moments in training camp where reports said he was communicating better on defense, calling out switches, not just reacting, but anticipating. That's what the Lakers need from him. Not perfection, but progress. The thing with Connect is that his offense will always keep him relevant. He's one of those players who can completely change the energy of a game in a single stretch. He can miss his first 4 shots and then suddenly hit 5 straight threes. When he gets hot, he's unstoppable. That kind of streaky firepower is valuable, especially when LeBron or AD rest. The problem is what happens when he's cold. When the shot isn't falling, the question becomes, what else does he bring? That's where Redick and the coaching staff are putting the pressure. They want him to impact the game even when he's not scoring. Dive for loose balls, box out, rotate, make the extra pass, communicate on defense. The small things that don't show up in the box score but win games. From everything that's been said behind the scenes, JJ Redick actually likes Connect's work ethic. He's mentioned it multiple times. He's the first one in the gym, the last one out. He got the right mindset. But Redick is also brutally honest about expectations. He's not going to hand minutes to anyone just because of potential. Dalton has to earn every second. And that's the challenge, to stay mentally tough enough to keep grinding even when the playing time isn't consistent. Because if there's one thing Redick values, it's accountability. Now, if there's a silver lining here, it's that this upcoming stretch could be the perfect opportunity for Dalton. With LeBron likely missing around 10 games and Rui Hachimura nursing minor issues, there's a real window for him to play meaningful minutes. This is his chance to show that he can fit next to the stars, that he can be trusted in real game situations. And honestly, the Lakers need someone like him to step up. They need spacing, they need shooting, and they need energy off the bench. If Dalton can provide that without being a defensive target, he could suddenly become more than just trade bait. He could be part of the rotation plan going forward. Still, the trade rumors aren't going anywhere. You can feel it in every discussion around the team. The Lakers are always looking for that one extra piece, and young players like Dalton are usually the ones moved to make it happen. It's not personal, it's business. The front office knows that if he puts together a few strong games, his value shoots up, and that gives them flexibility. They might not be actively shopping him today, but they'll absolutely listen if the right call comes in tomorrow. That's the harsh reality of being a young player on a win-now roster. You're an asset first, a long-term investment second. But what if he surprises everyone? What if he actually takes that defensive leap this season? Because the potential is there. He's got the athleticism, the frame, and the instincts to at least become an average defender. It's not a lack of tools. It's about consistency and confidence. If he can just hold his ground, keep his feet moving, and stay disciplined, suddenly he's not a weakness anymore. And if he's not a weakness, his shooting becomes even more valuable. That's the version of Dalton Connect the Lakers could use, a reliable 3 and D-wing who can heat up at any moment. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, whispers are sweeping through Los Angeles as one of the NBA's most electric storylines begins to take shape. Kawhi Leonard, the quiet assassin of the Clippers, may be packing his bags, but not to leave the city, rather to cross the street and don the purple and gold of the Lakers. Sources close to the player claim that Leonard has accepted an offer from the Lakers, sending shockwaves through both fan bases and sending the Clippers' locker room into speculation overdrive. The mere idea of Kawhi in a Lakers jersey has fans and analysts alike buzzing with what-ifs. Would this make the Lakers an unstoppable juggernaut? Could the Clippers survive a city now seemingly dominated by LeBron's old foes and Kawhi's measured intensity? Lakers executives reportedly have been patient and methodical in crafting a package that would entice Leonard, a player notoriously private and meticulous about his next move. And now, if the rumor is true, that patience has paid off. Inside sources suggest Leonard has been weighing his legacy, the allure of championships, and the chance to write a new chapter in Los Angeles basketball history. The Lakers' locker room, filled with stars and hungry for dominance, reportedly sees Leonard as the final piece that could tip the scales. Meanwhile, Clippers fans are bracing for a difficult offseason, knowing that their franchise star may be leading cheers for the rival down the street. The NBA landscape could be reshaped in a matter of days. Social media is already alight with speculation, memes, and heated debates over the potential pairing of Kawhi with established Lakers talents. Coaches, players, and pundits are all circling this move, knowing that if Leonard officially steps into the purple and gold, the rivalry between the two Los Angeles teams will reach a fever pitch not seen in decades. Of course, nothing is official yet. Leonard's representatives are keeping negotiations close to the vest, and the Clippers are reportedly weighing their options in a delicate chess match. But in the world of sports, where rumors often carry the weight of reality before ink hits the page, one thing feels certain. Los Angeles basketball may never look the same again. And as fans hold their breath, the city waits for the inevitable confirmation or denial of what could be the most stunning NBA twist in years. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.